Aloha, everyone. Hope you are all doing absolutely amazing today. I've been looking forward to this Facebook Live for a little while now because all of a sudden, I'm looking through the list of the things that we've talked about to just keep a focus on what are the topics, what are the things that we have talked about. And what I want to talk about today is what the heck is NLP? Like legit, like what is NLP? I was inspired by one of my clients who I had a discussion with, and she was like, I want to put videos out there to explain what NLP is, to talk about it, to help people have a better understanding of it. And I said, I'm not attached to the label. I'm really not. And there are people like Tony Robbins. When I learned from Tony Robbins, I remember being at the table. My dad, those of you who know me, my dad worked with Tony and did marketing for him. And as a kid growing up in this field, I remember the discussion that Tony had with Richard Bandler, who invented NLP, that we should stop calling it NLP, call it motivation, and everything will be so much easier. And of course, they ended up splitting, and Tony went more down the motivational path, and Bandler stuck to NLP. So did we as a company. That was my dad's choice, that let's stick with NLP. Let's stick with that label, even though those three letters can create so much confusion. Let's stick with it just to make sure that everyone is clear on like what it is and what do you use it for. So I want to define it in this short amount of time that I have on a Facebook Live. I want to define what NLP is, the mindset behind it. And I also want to really, just for those of you who love this stuff and work with individuals one-on-one, give you something that you can just repeat, that you can replicate and be like, hey, this is what NLP is all about. So check this out. NLP, in my opinion, is so absolutely amazing because Bandler and Grinder, the two people that invented NLP, they asked a powerful question, such a powerful question. Why is it that successful people are successful? Now, that may not have been the exact question that they asked. I'm kind of paraphrasing it. But they went in with this curiosity. They went in with a curiosity of, why is it that someone like Virginia Satir or Milton Erickson, those are some of the early people that were modeled to create NLP, why do they get results with clients and other people don't? Like straight up, why does Virginia Satir, who is considered to be one of the best marriage and family therapists that ever existed, why does she get results with people? And other individuals, even women with similar backgrounds who sat in the exact same class, why don't they get the same results? Because we live in a world, we live in a mindset out here that if I teach you ABC, you should be able to do a specific behavior, and that behavior will then lead to you getting a job and getting very clear results, right? That's literally what we built our system up around. And that's just not the case. I mean, if the school that Virginia Satir went to was so good, and if that whole idea was correct, that school will be pumping out Virginia Satirs all the time. Now, those of you who don't know who Virginia Satir is or was, she was a marriage and family therapist that helped so many people overcome baggage just by conversation, So Bandler and Grinder went in and modeled her. What does she do? Modeled Milton Erickson. And that was the beginning. I mean, that was the early stages of it. That was the beginning of NLP. And, I'm 51. I'm going to be 52 this year. Did my first experience of NLP 40 years ago. I was 11 years old, did a Tony Robbins firewalk back when he was small. Not small, because the guy's unbelievably tall. I'm talking about back when there was only like 50 people in the room. And, I'm old school NLP, which is that this is all about, let's model what successful people do, and let's emulate that. And that's what NLP is. That's why NLP isn't a set of tools and techniques. It's evolving, it's growing, it changes all the time. I first taught NLP back in 1999. So I'm celebrating my 25th year of teaching this year. And I first taught NLP back in 99. So I learned it when I was 11, began teaching when I was 28. And I'm what I refer to as old school NLP. Aloha, Lorraine. So glad that you're on here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. I consider myself old school NLP, which is the idea that What NLP is all about is finding people that are successful, figuring out how they became successful, and then emulating that, modeling it, and teaching it. Which means that NLP should grow and evolve. Any of you who I haven't met, who has not done an NLP training with us, you sometimes get stuck with someone who either hasn't been properly trained or doesn't really get NLP. So this was a while back now. This was maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I decided to add meditation into our NLP trainings. I decided to add meditation in, and I decided to add in concepts about energy and higher self. And this guy came up to me in the training, and he said, Dr. Matt, I have read every book on NLP, and none of the books include meditation. You are not supposed to put meditation in NLP. And I said, well, we're NLP.com, so we can do whatever we want. And he didn't laugh. See, I thought that was funny. I thought that was super, super funny. And he didn't laugh. He's like, no, I'm being serious. And I said, wait, okay, so am I. I'm being serious too right now. Listen to me very carefully. I did NLP in the 80s, began teaching it in the 90s. Things have shifted a little bit since the 80s. Would you guys all agree with that? I mean, come on, I was a teenager in the 80s. Shit's way different now than it was back in the 80s, okay? Just to be really, really clear. Now, what it took to be successful in the 80s, that became different in the 90s, and that became different in 2000. That became different in the, what is it, the teens? Because we're in the 20s now. I don't even know what the thing in between the 2000s and the 20s, the teens. Now, has COVID changed things? Absolutely. I mean, that's why we talk in our trainings about establishing rapport with people via Zoom. We talk about how do you do this because COVID shifted things as well. You see, NLP is about how people are successful, not from the 80s, but right now. Right now, how are people being successful? And I said to this guy, if you look at, there was an article on Yahoo Finance that talked about how the top execs in Silicon Valley, where you have all these tech, they're doing mindfulness-based techniques. They're doing meditation. I looked at them and I said, not only does meditation belong in NLP, it's a part of what people need to do right now to be successful, period. So I'm old school NLP, which I appreciate. Those of you who posted, there's nothing wrong with old school. Love that. I'm old school NLP, and we as a company, we teach 21st century NLP. Not that old shit from the 70s and 80s. We teach current NLP. That's why if you've been to one of our trainings before and you see it again later on, there's a difference. Exactly. Mama Missy just said, we are meant to evolve. And aloha, Mary. So good to see you. Glad that you're here. So here's the deal. We grow, we evolve. Continue to evolve. And that's what we do as a company. So if you have been at a training, even with us 3 or 4 years ago, you come now, I have people tell me all the time, that's a different training. That's a completely different training. And I'm like, I know. The content's the same, but how to apply it and the examples have to be different because that's truly NLP. So those of you who have done NLP with me, which I know many of you have, a lot of you have done NLP with me, the way I describe NLP to someone is it's a study of how successful people become successful. What is success? Maybe I should do a webinar on what success is. Yeah, okay. I'll make that a future webinar. I think we need to do a webinar on what the heck is Huna, because we just did what the heck is NLP. And then let's talk about success. I think we'll do that one in the future. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap up. I know I went a little bit longer than I normally do. Now here's the deal. We got 3 more Facebook Lives, including this one. We got this one, then we got the next one, and then I'm moving over to YouTube. I said YouTube. I think you guys have all heard of YouTube. It's this up-and-coming new app, new platform, and a lot of people are on YouTube apparently. We have an incredible channel on YouTube. Please go follow me over there. It's a lot easier to deal with YouTube. No offense, Mark Zuckerberg. No offense, Facebook. Just if I post and I go live on YouTube, it's way easier for our team to do more with it, including posting it here, like actually reposting it on Facebook. It's so much easier. I'm not sure what Facebook is doing. They like lock down videos, do weird shit with it. So we're switching to YouTube. So we're doing a 3, 2, 1. We're on YouTube. This is 3. We're going to drop down to 2 next week and then 1. And then it's bye-bye Facebook, over to YouTube if you want to watch us live. So go check me out on YouTube. go to, I think it's at Dr. Matt James, or just type in Dr. Matt James. We just hit, do we hit like 10,000 views, a million, we just hit 1 million views on the YouTube channel, which is pretty badass. Thank you, marketing team, for helping to make that happen. So we hit 1 million views. We're going over there because we don't have 1 million views over here on Facebook. Love Facebook, and we're bailing out, okay? All right. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next week. Ahui ho.